I wish I could say that I sort of found math inspiring or beautiful or something like that. But the reality was, when I started, I just liked it. I was very excited about thinking about difficult problems and working to solve them on my own time. And I enjoyed the sort of freedom that you have in math where you don't have to be in a lab doing experiments, for instance. You can be doing something else and you're still thinking about the thing that you enjoy. So for instance, when I was in grad school, I took up rock climbing. And one of my favorite things to do was to memorize a problem that I was working on before I went to the gym. And then while I was resting in between trying to climb, I would try and solve the problem in my head. And so during the early sort of research phase of my career, one of the things that was most appealing to me was the freedom to do what I liked, where I liked, when I liked, and it was really enjoyable. But once I had a tenure track job, one of the things I knew I wanted to do was get more involved in sort of organizing conferences and events, like seminars, and really just more involved in the community. And so what started off as really just loving the freedom of these research problems turned really into enjoying the community that was working on them. And so I started at the beginning just getting involved with the Canadian Math Society, involved in sort of organizing special sessions at their conferences, taking part in some of the committee work that they need to have done. And so I've really managed to give back to this sort of friendly community that I found a really welcoming place when I was first starting my research. And I want to do everything I can to sort of keep that alive and going in Canada. So there are mathematical ideas that I had where I can say, like, that was one of the good ideas that I had. And that gave me a paper that was well read and helped people sort of progress in the research that they were doing. I really want to stay connected to the Canadian Mathematical Society because they do a lot of things other than research, which is what most people might think of when they hear the name. They really do a lot of sort of outreach and promotion of mathematics. They're organizing math camps for kids in the summer, they're organizing competitions for school-age kids, and they're sort of making sure that everybody who wants to and who's interested can really start off their relationship with mathematics on the right foot. I really, really like that. And hopefully I can have a hand in helping plan their future directions. I'm also happy to continue doing my work with NSERC, which is going to sort of keep the research direction going, like sort of keep the research community in Canada running smoothly. I'm hoping to be able to offer some sort of guidance, and one of the things that I think is missing from the way that math is presented to a lot of people is to be sort of very genuine in explaining how difficult it is for everybody. Like, nobody did mathematics and got to the level of being a professor or a grad student or whatever and had an easy go the whole way. It's very important that you show that there is a struggle for everybody and be honest about how difficult it is and sympathize with people who are going through the period in their mathematical career where it's difficult for them, because I'm sure it happened for anybody who's a mathematician that at some point they ran into something that they just couldn't do. It's easy if you've taught a subject or given a lecture many times to forget that that lecture that you're giving may be the one for somebody where they really get sort of shut down for the first time. And you have to be ready to sort of remind yourself that that happens to everyone, and maybe it's happening to somebody right now, and be very, very sort of kind in helping people through that. It's important to realize that nobody likes to be told that they're wrong. And in math, unfortunately, that is exactly what happens. Like, if you've done something wrong, it's wrong in a way that's different than in most subjects. Like, there's going to be a step somewhere in the work that you've done that there's just a mistake. And it's very hard to look at that work and realize, yep, I just didn't get it. But again, that happens to everybody. And you have to create an environment where it's comfortable and it's okay to be the person who's wrong that day. I don't think that that happens easily, but I try to correct myself when it happens and say, okay, maybe this was obvious for me, but in using language like that, the person in the audience for whom it wasn't obvious has just been made to feel quite bad. And so you try to avoid doing that, you go back and correct yourself if you say it, and you really spell things out and make sure that everybody's along for the ride. So I was very happy to be nominated, and for me that was good enough. That was, quite an honor. But then when I got an email from the Canadian Math Society saying that I had been chosen, I was just floored. I couldn't believe it. I kind of had to go and read the email again. And yeah, I really thought that I had misread it the first time around. And anyway, once it settled in my mind and I'd convinced myself that, yeah, it was real, I guess it's just amazing to have sort of these ongoing contributions that I've made to the Canadian math community recognized in this way. And I'm happy that being here at this university made it so that I could do that.